Hey, Tim Sykes here, and I have kind of a disorganized video lesson just because I'm doing a lot right now, but I want to get this out. I actually just finished working out, so I'm sorry. I'm a little sweaty. I just locked in nearly $1,000 pre-market before 9 a.m. Eastern, and it's all because I was prepared. Just like my student yesterday who I featured, Huddy, he was prepared yesterday. He made 3,000. So the title of this video is how to make $1,000 to $3,000 per day, being prepared and being ready for the plays. So if by the end of this video lesson you'll understand it, leave a comment underneath this video saying I will be prepared. And I'm sorry that we're having some video issues on Profitly. This is a new design, so we have some issues to work through. You guys don't have to message us. We know we're working on it. I'm sorry. But I wanted to do this because CNET is the play that's moving right now pre-market. And this is the one I just banked on. Nice little pre-market run up. They just reported earnings and it's just a skyrocket. I didn't catch it in the twos. Several of my students did. I actually caught it on this little dip right here from 360 down to 340. This was my little dip buy. And you know, the bigger volume is coming in. This is kind of an early bird catches the worm pattern. Oh, before I even get into this, I should mention, I told you it was going to be disorganized. My friend Doug is giving a free webinar. I'll post a link just below this video. This is on April 26th. And he nailed it last time the weed stocks started running. Now he has 5 new picks, all in the weed sector. And I think weed stocks are going to be hot the next few days and weeks, as they have already been the past few days, because Canada is legalizing weed in June. So that means that people are going to be buying in anticipation of that. I would not hold any weed stock through June, but you know, April and May should be pretty nice. So this is a free webinar. Post the link. I'll post the link just below this. But a lot of stocks are moving right now. And part of the reason why I want to talk about weed stocks and CNET, you know, I was just going to talk purely about weed stocks, but this fits the same kind of lesson where these former supernovas can run again. CNET was, I think, the biggest one-day winner that I've seen in the past few months. I mean, it was up nearly 1,000% this day when they just said that they were getting into cryptocurrency. They didn't even say, oh, our business is booming, we have record profits. No, they just started a joint venture. And it obviously lost most of its gains over the past few months, but now we're getting a repeat. And this is very similar to other weed stocks like CANN. You know, this was a big former supernova, and now look at CANN coming up again. CGRW is another one, former supernova coming up again. CBDS, a little less on that one. CRON is another weed stock that's coming up again. These are all former supernovas. So the lesson here is remember former supernovas. Somebody asked me in the chat room already today, like, how did I know CNET? It wasn't on my watch list last night. It couldn't be on my watch list last night because it just reported earnings today. It's a pre-market percent winner. I'm always looking for pre-market percent winners. I'm always looking for percent winners throughout the day. And former runners, along with percent winners, along with a news catalyst, that makes it a good buy. And I got it on a nice little dip. I actually sold it a little too soon in the high 3s. Now it's in the low 4s. Maybe it keeps going. I don't know. But for me, I like being able to lock in $1,000, especially when I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm actually in Japan right now. I came here. I have some charities that I'm working with here, a great dog charity called ArkBark, and then also Save the Children Japan. So I'm working with my charities here. I'm eating sushi. I'm trading stocks in the nighttime. I'm all over the place. But because I know these patterns inside and out, I'm prepared. And that's frankly why I want you to watch this free webinar with my man Doug. He's going to teach you some good weed stock patterns. And I got to give props again to Huddy. Where was it? Yesterday in the chat room, right near the market open, you know, he sold half of his KSHB. Oh, that was the other weed stock that was up. Former supernova. And this thing was running nicely on Friday. Nice first big green day, big volume. And then Monday it followed through. And Huddy, you know, he's still in school, okay? That's the beautiful thing. If you saw my video lesson yesterday, he is still in school. And he's attending classes and still trading, and he made $3 grand. So he sold some of his KSHB for like a 10% gain over the weekend. I said, nice trade. Um, a few other students are getting it too. I got to give props to Dal. He made 10%. Um, here's Bluegrass, made roughly 10%. 10% over the weekend isn't bad. Someone just made 10% on CNET. And they were complaining that it kept going. And I was like, you just made 10% in an hour. Like, control your greed. A lot of you guys get angry when a stock goes further than you think is possible. I don't get angry. I sold CNET already. It's higher now. I don't care. I locked in my gains. I made roughly 15%. So if you can make 10 or 15% and you take those singles, it adds up over time. Where was it? I got to get to more people. Papa John, he actually had a $3,000 profit day. He nailed Buds, B-U-D-Z. This is another weed stock that was uptrending. Wow, look at CNET. Do you hear any anger in my voice where, I sold it roughly 30 cents ago now? I don't care. I still profited. I showed you guys, a good trade. Here's Papa John. He sold the other half of CANN for like a 15% profit, $1,000 profit so far. This is just in the challenge chat room, which I encourage you all to be in. Here's Huddy at 10 a.m. So by 10 a.m. Eastern yesterday, he sold the rest of his KSHB, made $3K on the day. He's closing in on $100,000 in profits, and he's still in college. He made $3K yesterday. Today, I made $1,000. I'm closing in on $5 million in profits. So fast forward Huddy's life over the next few years and decades. He very well could be closing in on $5 million in profits too, making $1,000, $3,000 a day. This is what it is. We don't trade every day. We don't win every time, but we remember former supernovas, whether it's a weed stock or a cryptocurrency play or Bitcoin. You have one job right now, all of you watching this. Learn these patterns inside and out, okay? If you did watch yesterday's interview with Huddy, he studied, wow, look at CNET. Look at this power. I'm watching this still. And I'll still watch a stock even after I'm out, not because I'm angry, but because I want to learn. If this thing goes to like $6 or $7 a share today, then I might get a little more aggressive. But as I think, so far now it's actually going down to the high threes now. So I'm glad to be out. I'm very comfortable taking 10% profits. But what I was saying, if you watched Huddy's interview yesterday, great interview by Tim Bowen. Thank you for doing that, Timmy boy. He studied for 2+ years before he started really getting consistent profits. And like he was telling his dad, he's like, now I really get it. Now I really get it. Like 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 15 months in. But really it took him 2 years. So a lot of you guys message me like, I just don't see the patterns because you don't give it enough time. You're not patient enough. This thing takes a little while. Even Tim Grittani took 9 months to recognize the patterns. But if you stick with me, if you trust me, if you actually believe that you can do this day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, you will see examples like these. And again, it's not going to happen every day. But CNET, this is an earnings winner, former supernova type setup. CANN, these are classic number 5s and number 6 patterns for my penny stocking framework or penny stocking framework part 2 guide. So watch the guides that I send you. Utilize these tools. You'll see these patterns again and again. And actually, Huddy made a good video yesterday. I'll post a link to that too, where he didn't want to chase CANN over the weekend because it was already up 3 days in a row. And I personally didn't want to do that. I don't like chasing stocks on the 3rd or 4th green day. Even the 2nd green day for me, I had problems holding it through the 1st green day. So I trade very conservatively, and Huddy did too. But you find what you're good at, you find your preferences, you discover them over time, whether you want to be aggressive or not. I have some students who are making $50,000 to $100,000 in a day. They're not using any different patterns. They're just taking bigger position sizes. You have to remember, I trade with a very small account. One sec, I'm finishing up this video. I got to get going. Leave a comment underneath this video saying, I don't even remember what I said before, but post some comment if you get it. And I'm also going to post this link to this free webinar coming up in a few days to learn what the next hot weed stocks are. Study up. You will get this. Learn how to make $1,000 to $3,000 in a day. It adds up. Cheers. I know I'm coming.